afternoon. You're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Linda Tamim, and these are today's top stories. Maronite Patriarch Bashar al-Ra'i accuses cabinet of devising an unconstitutional mechanism of governing and trying to replace the office of the president. The Syrian government says Turkey informed Syria ahead of a major overnight military incursion, but did not await Syrian agreement to the action. And a device explodes at the gate of the Iranian ambassador's residence in the Libyan capital of Tripoli. Maronite Patriarch Bashar al-Ra'i has accused cabinet of devising an unconstitutional mechanism of governing and trying to replace the office of the president. Ra'i said procedures governing its work should only take place through consensus and not by devising mechanisms that run contrary to the constitution. In his Sunday sermon, Ra'i said that ending the 9-month-long presidential vacuum would solve the deadlock in cabinet and would contribute to the revival of state institutions. When former President Michel Sleiman left office last May, the cabinet adopted a system which requires unanimous backing among all 24 ministers to approve decisions. The current system, not stipulated in the constitution, allows any minister to veto a decision, which has led to a political deadlock in cabinet. Parliament Speaker Nabih Berri has lauded a meeting held with Future Movement Chief Saad Hariri, describing talks as fruitful. In comments published in Al Mustaqbal newspaper, Berri said they both discussed endeavors to safeguard the country and the election of a new head of state. He also revealed that they both highlighted the cabinet's mechanism in light of the ongoing vacuum in the presidency, and they both agreed that any decision should be according to the constitution. The speaker added that I leave it to Hariri to reveal any further details regarding other issues, and I adopt whatever he announces beforehand. The Lebanese army has foiled an incursion by militiamen overnight on the outskirts of Ras Baalbek in the eastern Bekaa. The national news agency reported the gunmen tried to infiltrate into Talat al-Hamra area on the outskirts of Ras Baalbek, but the army prevented them by shelling their positions using heavy and medium artillery. Earlier in February, the military began targeting militants taking positions along Lebanon's eastern border with heavy artillery after bloody clashes with the jihadists killed 8 Lebanese troops and wounded several others in the Talat al-Hamra area when terrorists attacked a military surveillance post. The mountainous area has long been a smuggling haven with multiple routes into Syria and have been used since the conflict began in March of 2011 to transport weapons and fighters. The Syrian government has said that Turkey informed Syria ahead of a major overnight military incursion, but did not await Syrian agreement to the action. This is according to Reuters news agency. Turkish Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu said Turkish soldiers guarding the tomb of Sleiman Shah in Syria were successfully evacuated to Turkey in the military operation early on Saturday. Davutoglu said the remains of Sleiman Shah, grandfather of the founder of the Ottoman Empire, would be moved to a different area of Syria, which has been brought under Turkish military control. As a result, Syrian state television described the incursion as flagrant aggression. The Turkish military said in a statement that there had been no clashes during the operation, the first such ground incursion by Turkish troops into Syria, but that one soldier had been killed in an accident. The Islamic State jihadist group has released a new video purporting to show captured Kurdish Peshmerga fighters paraded through Iraqi streets in cages. The video shows 21 captives presented as 16 Peshmerga fighters, 2 Iraqi army officers and 3 policemen from Kirkuk, a city about 240 kilometers north of Baghdad. The captives in orange jumpsuits with their heads lowered are led to cages in a square surrounded by concrete walls and masked ISIS fighters carrying pistols. A bearded man in a white turban warns the Peshmerga against fighting ISIS. And the caged captives are shown being paraded through the streets on the back of the pickup trucks as dozens of residents and armed men look on. The date and location is not specified in the video, but Kurdish sources told Agence France Presse it was filmed a week earlier in the main market of Hawija, an ISIS-held town some 50 kilometers from Kirkuk. And coming up next, Hollywood is braced for its starriest night of the year. More details after the break. Welcome back. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry has expressed concern about the viability of the Palestinian Authority If it does not soon receive tax revenue, which has been withheld by Israel, the funds have been held back from the authorities since last month in retaliation for Palestinian moves to join the International Criminal Court. Joining the ICC would pave the way for the court to take jurisdiction over alleged crimes committed in Palestinian lands and to investigate the conduct of Israeli and Palestinian leaders.
If the Palestinian Authority ceases or were to cease security cooperation or even decide to disband as a result of their economic predicament, and that could happen in the near future if they don't receive additional revenues, then we would be faced with yet another crisis that could also greatly impact the security of both Palestinians and Israelis. And that would have the potential of serious ripple effects elsewhere in the region. So we're working hard to try to prevent that from happening, and that's why we've been reaching out to key stakeholders in order to express these concerns, but also to try to work together to be able to find a solution to this challenge.
A device has exploded at the gate of the Iranian ambassador's residence in the Libyan capital of Tripoli, but a Libyan security official said nobody was hurt. The residence lies in the central district of Tripoli. Photos posted online by a reporter of an Iranian news agency showed destroyed concrete and steel scattered outside the building. Fast food outlets don't tend to be renowned for individuality and innovative building design, but diners in Shiraz, Iran are being treated to a fast food with difference, the country's first restaurant built from salt and recycled rubbish. Called simply namak, which is the Persian word for salt, this restaurant is just that, salt. The walls, columns and tables at this fast food eatery have all been made from salt extracted from a nearby lake. The restaurant was designed by architect Ali Reza Imtiaz, who was tasked 3 years ago with creating a unique bistro with a modern theme that would appeal to young people and families. Imtiaz says he decided to build an environmentally friendly restaurant using cheap materials and high ergonomic standards. The doorknobs, stairs and chairs are all made from recycled drink cans. At night, the cave-like restaurant is packed with locals curious to see inside and snap a selfie. Imagine being able to hear or even see the invisible Wi-Fi networks, which constantly send data to our devices and back again. That's the reality for one British science writer who saw an opportunity when he began wearing hearing aids due to progressive hearing loss. Walking through the busy streets of London, science writer Frank Swain is not only hearing the rumble of nearby traffic and conversations, he's also hearing Wi-Fi networks. The strange otherworldly sound being transmitted to Swain's 2 hearing aids is an audio representation of the busy wireless signals around him. It's all part of a project called Phantom Terrains, which Swain created to experiment with his hearing aids. Swain, who is a writer for weekly UK-based science and technology magazine New Scientist, has had progressive hearing loss since his mid-20s.
Terrains is an augmented reality system for listening to Wi-Fi effectively, and what it does is takes my hearing aids and adds a layer of sound onto them so that I can listen in on the Wi-Fi fields around me. I'm losing my hearing in my mid-20s, and I've lost about 20 decibels in the 4 kilohertz region. Now what that means is that speech clarity for me has completely gone out the window. I can hear the world, it sounds, as to me, as loud as it always did, but it sounds a little bit like I've got a heavy cold or I'm underwater where everything is muffled, and the hearing aids just take that speech and amplify it and make it a lot clearer so I can chat to people again. A really alien experience to be able to hear these Wi-Fi fields, but at the same time it's also something strangely familiar about it. It's something you've known was there all along, you use it every day on your phone, and yet you never really had a sense of how those fields played out in the environment. So to be able to listen to them is at once alien but also strangely familiar.
Hollywood is holding its breath ahead of the Oscars tonight with dark comedy Birdman and coming-of-age drama Boyhood neck and neck in the awards season home stretch. Tinseltown's finest will be on the edge of their seats at the Dolby Theatre, waiting to finally learn who will win the coveted golden statuette and who will walk away empty-handed. Julianne Moore, Patricia Arquette, and Britain's Eddie Redmayne are among those widely tipped to take home acting prizes during the show, hosted by song and dance man Neil Patrick Harris. Birdman, a fanciful yet dark tale of a washed-up superhero actor battling to revive his career on Broadway, has swept a string of prizes ahead of the Oscars, including top prizes from the Screen Actors Guild and the Directors Guild of America. But Richard Linklater's Boyhood, which was made over 12 years with the same actors aging with their characters, scooped up the biggest awards at last month's Golden Globes, as well as Britain's BAFTAs.
Wish we could use the bumpers.
You don't want the bumpers. Life doesn't give you bumpers. God damn it.
We have a new student joining us today.
Hey, dude. Welcome to the suck.
So let me go.
Mom.
Have you been drinking?
A little bit.
Oh, hey.
Everyone deserves a chance to walk with.
What do you want to be, Mason? What do you want to do?
Enjoy the Oscars tonight. This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our headlines. Tonight, Patriarch Shadadai accuses cabinet of devising an unconstitutional mechanism of governing and trying to replace the office of the president. The Syrian government says Turkey informed Syria ahead of a major overnight military incursion, but did not await Syrian agreement to the action. And a device explodes at the gate of the Iranian ambassador's residence in the Libyan capital of Tripoli. Those are your Sunday headlines from us here at Future Television. I'm Linda Tamim, and I thank you all for tuning in this afternoon. Take care.
دعمنا للجيش والقوى الأمنية غير مشروط وبلا حدود. لن نعترف لحزب الله بأي حقوق تتقدم على حق الدولة في قرارات السلم والحرب.